The Lionesses won the Women's Euros this weekend, and they also brought record-breaking viewership to both the UK and the US. This was the highest viewed programming on the BBC all year so far, and this was also a record-breaking year for English-language viewing in the US. But what's even more impressive about England taking home the Women's Euros is the fact that professional women's football was actually banned in England for 50 years. Women have been playing football in England for longer than you might realize. In fact, Mary Queen of Scots is believed to own the world's oldest football. A poem written in 1580 by Sir Philip Sidney actually references women playing football that year, and football, of course, became a growing pastime in England for years. In 1863, the Football Association was formed, and in 1881, we have the first recorded women's match. Across the 1890s and early 1900s, we saw women's football clubs exploding across England, and in 1895, a women's match actually was recorded as having over 10,000 paying spectators. The women's game grew even more during World War I, because as women were taking up male jobs, they were also taking up male pastimes. While they were in the factories, we saw a creation of factory teams. And during this time, we saw women's matches that were put on for charity for the war efforts, as well as the first women to be paid to play football. By 1921, there were over 150 women's football clubs, and those matches were drawing sometimes upwards of 45,000 spectators. Simply put, the game had become incredibly popular, and it was specifically popular with these women's players. But as the war ended and men returned, women left factory jobs to be replaced by men, were expected to return to the home, and of course, men's professional football came back to take center stage. But the controversy that followed was the fact that women's games were already so popular, and in response to this, we saw the Football Association ban women's football. On December 5th, 1921, the Football Association banned the women's game, saying that football was not suitable for women and ought not be encouraged. For the next 50 years, we saw women not be allowed to play on professional football pitches, and in 1971, that ban was finally lifted. But women's football didn't actually become fully professional until 2018, and before then, we were seeing women play for the national team and also balance completely separate careers in order to pay their bills. And this time around, we saw them win in an incredible way. Not only did they bring this incredible viewership to the game, but Chloe Kelly's winning penalty kick was actually 68 miles an hour, and that was faster than any shot in the entirety of the last season of the Premier League. The fastest shot in the Premier League this past season was 67.7 miles an hour. And so I think what's really exciting about this is that we're seeing that the women's game is returning. This is not a surprise that there is a lot of viewership and a lot of excitement for the women's game. This is simply a return to something that already existed, and something that was specifically held back in favor of men's sports. So did you watch this year's Women's Euros? Were you excited that the Lionesses won? And will you continue to follow this sport if this is the first time that you're watching?